Oh, okay. So we're recording now, Nick. So, firstly, let me say thank you, for agreeing to have a conversation about with me about how you have transitioned into being a coach and what led to that, to give us a bit of an insight. Can I ask firstly then, for everybody that might not know you, for you to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Nick O'Neill. I always describe myself as a solicitor because I'm not practicing. Um, I got into the profession in the 80s, makes me sound very old. Um, then, after 5 years in Liverpool as a paralegal, training legal exec, realised that I wanted to be a student, went off to uni, law, LPC, then got into the profession, training contract, worked my way up, solicitor, associate, up to partner level. And I was managing in a medium sized practice, managing teams nationally. Um, whilst I really enjoyed being a practicing solicitor as a litigator, I really enjoyed the cut and thrust of that and the client interaction. I really, really enjoyed the management of people and ops. So I did an MBA in 2000 a long time ago, 10, and transitioned into management. So I've been managing now for about 14 years. I did 4 years in a couple of private sector firms. Then I moved to local authority with Wirral Council. I was there for 5 years managing their legal team, and then decided that I wanted another challenge and to really just grow my management experience and portfolio. So I moved to the bar to be Chambers Director at Oriel Chambers, and I'm just coming up to my 3 year anniversary, although I have no idea where that time went. Yeah, so here I am in sunny Liverpool.
Fantastic. And it looks sunny today, actually.
It is nice day today. Yeah.
Yes. Um, okay, so thank you for that. Wow, yes, so lots of experience. So can I ask, in all of that then, what are the key challenges that you faced or still face now, in the legal sort of career the path that you've taken?
I think I was quite naive when I came to the profession. I'm a team player, and I really thought that if I did a good job, I would get on. And I wasn't in any way prepared for the Machiavellian, um, political with a small p, or probably a big P actually, nature of the profession. And I learnt about that the hard way, as we all do. And yeah, found I didn't enjoy that element of it. I thought that you should get on um, in the profession through merit and through performance, and it wasn't always like that. It was sometimes the people who shouted the loudest, the people who moaned the most, the people who um, yeah, just at times I found that really challenging. But as I matured and grew older, I suppose I realised that it's part of life's rich tapestry and the way human beings behave. I think the profession attracts a very sort of alpha character, and a lot of people are very driven. And I was never, I was driven to be a good lawyer and to be a good person, um, but I never had the real drive that some people have. That I've always found to be, yeah, not a particularly good character trait.
It's interesting, isn't it? How personality traits and, like you say, character traits, they show up in different ways in the same profession and when you're doing the same job, and that can impact what actually happens and how they're perceived.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah, I'm very sociable. I always perceive myself to be a nice guy,
Mm.
and it was, yeah, it's been a bumpy road in the profession. There's been ups and downs, but there are ups and downs in life anyway. But I've always tried to take the teachings and the learn from each of my experiences, and it's built to me to where I am now, where I feel very, yeah, a lot more older and wiser.
Aren't we all? Okay, so that's great. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so can I ask then, what led you to becoming a coach?
Well, I've always been a sort of natural coach. Um, I've always been a leader, and I've captained in a lot of sporting environments from a very young age. Coached a lot of, and mentored a lot of junior staff uh, during my time in the legal profession. And when I was in management, especially in local government, the opportunities arose to be a internal coach and an internal mentor, and I was drawn to that naturally, really. Um, Undertook my coaching qualifications with the British School of Coaching, ILM Level 5. I didn't want to do the executive coaching because I'm far more interested in um, almost middle management, I suppose, and junior people in business and in the legal profession. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So at the moment, I have a practice where I coach for mental health and career development as well. Um, the mental health coaching has come from a long involvement with mental health, in particular men's mental health at the moment, through Lorca, with whom I've been a champion for 5 years, and I've been volunteering for them for about 13 years. So yeah, it just was a very good fit for me.
Mm, okay, and how was your transition then to becoming a coach? Was it as smooth as the sort of the recognition that you were kind of a natural coach anyway, or you were doing it anyway?
I thought it would be a very easy transition until I realised that I was going back into real academia. I did the MBA, and that was a real challenge, and it was very hard and very demanding. So I thought, well, I've done an MBA, so coaching qualification will be a walk in the park. I'm naturally good at it. Little bit of ego, ego getting out of control there a little bit. And when I started it, I realised that it was a real sort of degree level course that required a lot of effort and a lot of academic work. So I got my act together and sorted it out, and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Okay. And in relation to, I mean, the practice side of things, how has your transition been in relation to how you maybe now coach?
I'm
Is,
doing it on a purely voluntary basis at the moment. I have a very, very busy and very demanding full-time job. I also have two young children. I would like, in the long run, to have a portfolio career where I do have a coaching business, but my business that I have at the moment is purely on a voluntary basis. So through word of mouth, I've found that young lawyers are coming to me and asking for my help with coaching, and it's great. It works really well. I always have like one or two clients that I can see as I can fit them quite in easily with my full time job, and I'm really enjoying that at the moment. I think I need to drill down into the business side of it, but as I say, I'm busy at the moment, so I don't want to. Yeah, and I really enjoy my job, so I don't want to be drawn away from that, especially at the moment.
fair enough, thank you. Okay, so can I ask then if you've any thoughts around how maybe your professional experience has influenced how you actually coach?
Yeah, often fall into the trap well, you know full well the difference between coaching and mentoring.
Mm.
And I often fall into the trap because I have a broad church of experience in the profession. I often fall into mentoring rather than coaching, and then have to, constantly be aware of the fact that I need to shut up, listen for 80% of the time. I like to talk, so I've always found listening to be the most challenging element of coaching. Um, so, in terms of the fact that I understand a lot of the issues that everyone who I coach are experiencing, I often want to, put them in one direction or another, but also being mindful of the fact that they have to find their own way, and the journey for them has to develop organically, and I'm there as a facilitator. So I do find that really challenging, but I do enjoy it.
Well, that's great. That's what counts. Okay. And obviously helping people, whether coaching or mentoring.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that honestly, Rachel, the buzz I get from coaching um, is unbeatable. It's fantastic.
Mm. Yeah, okay. You don't need to explain anything more about that. I do completely understand that. Um, okay, so going back to your career then, legal profession, what would you say your key learnings have been then? Now, if you're sort of looking back over the many years.
Key learnings. One of the real key learnings that the profession has got better at is promoting people into managerial positions who should be in those positions. So if I go back 20 years, people were just promoted into managerial positions because that was the next step on the corporate ladder. So you were promoting people who had no managerial skill sets, who had no desire to be a manager, who a lot of the time were absolutely appalling managers. And it was across industry, but the legal profession were very slow to understand that and to address that issue. And now you see a lot of firms who have partner and director paths, where one path has a more managerial bent to it than the other that is, a more legal practice. So, in terms of experience with managers, I've had some appalling managers over the years. I've had a few very good ones who were, very good leaders, and learned from both of those experiences. So obviously learned how not to behave as a manager from the people who will remain nameless, but also taking the best from some of the managers and colleagues I've worked with over the years to develop my own skill set. And one thing I really do believe in, and have done since I learned about it about 10 years ago, is reverse mentoring. So learning from junior members of staff. I've got one young man who works for me in Chambers, and he perpetually, blows my mind with ideas and thought processes and conversations we have. To the point I often feel a little bit jealous of the way he thinks at such a young age. Where I was thinking about girls boozing and playing football, probably. But it's yeah. So just learning about the people who surround you in the profession
Mm.
uh, has been great. Has been good.
Mm. Even if they're not the best role models, yeah, absolutely.
You'll always experience people of that nature, sociopathic, narcissist, whatever labels you want to put on them. But ultimately, it's taking the teachings and learning from those experiences to behave the way you feel you should behave, but also how to address and deal with individuals of that nature in the future.
Absolutely. Okay, right, yep. Thank you. Okay, so thinking about then your legal profession and your experience, what values would you say that you have brought with you into your coaching when you do coach or mentor?
I'm very straight. I'll never sugarcoat anything with anyone. Um, Honesty has always been something that I've really, really worked hard with people, and I've found that has always been really appreciated.
Mm.
That people have heard the, often hard lessons, and if I've seen someone going completely down, one coachee of mine was going down completely the wrong path, and I just thought I can't let that individual almost make the same mistakes that I did at that stage of my career, and had a hard conversation with them and said, look, this is not the path for you for a myriad of different reasons. Um, my view is you should, try these alternative approaches to your career, and they took my advice, and thankfully are doing really, really well now. So yeah, just being as honest with yourself and with your clients as you can be.
Mm. Okay, yeah, great. So, how have you seen the clients? I know you say you only have them on sort of one or two on at a time, but can I ask how you have seen your clients benefit? Now, that could be just general, like as a theme overall, or it could be an individual one that you might remember, just like you just have done, another story. But how have you seen the benefit?
You know what? The thing that has struck me the most with the clients is that they've all found their own way, and they've all found their own goals. They haven't often achieved those goals, that have sometimes been a little bit too distant, or in the future for them, when we've been trying to, identify a more granular, more accessible goal for them. But in terms of all of the clients I've had, it's been great to watch them find and identify their own direction and follow that path. So that's probably been the best benefit for them, and helping them stay on that path. Because as you know, through your coaching, you often have people, veering off left, right, all over the place, and trying to keep them with that direction is often a challenge. So all of the clients I've had, to see them heading for that goal and often achieving it has been great.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I want to take you back to the legal profession again. Sorry, I know I keep bringing you back and forth. Um, but in relation to coaching within, I mean, and it doesn't necessarily need to be legal organisations, but that's our experience, isn't it? So, what are your thoughts on coaching within organisations?
It depends. Um, you've got two sides of the same coin. Ultimately, you've got coaching that within an organisation that is brought in as part of a strategy, an organisational strategy to improve the business, have your people within the business operate within a certain way. And then the other side of the coin is individual people-centered coaching, where you're looking at coaching to assist the individuals with whatever goal they're looking for, be it their career path or personal issues that they might have. So it's very much based around what the ultimate strategic goal of the organization is. I'm not saying for a minute that coaching within an organization, if it's aligned to a corporate strategy, is a bad thing, but the organization needs to be 100% clear with the coachees as to what the purpose of the coaching is.
Okay, and from your viewpoint, how have you seen, if at all, the landscape changing within organisations? I'm thinking in particular with their responsibility to support their people, whether that's coaching or not. But obviously, we're talking about coaching, aren't we? So, have you seen organisations sort of changing the way that
Yeah,
they're coaching
very
it?
much so. The coaching within organisations is still in the UK, and especially in the legal profession, in a very it's still learning how it should work and what its uses are. When I was in local government, we had a big coaching program that I was part of, and I was coaching managers within the council across a broad spectrum of working practices. It's culturally a lot more gentle in the civil service. Gentle, yeah, gentle is probably a good word to describe it actually. Where it's a lot more people centred in the civil service, and particularly in local government. Whereas in corporate industry, private sector industry, coaching always comes with a perceived agenda. So if you're offered coaching within a private sector organisation, I often find clients saying to me, well, you know, what's the purpose of that? Why are we being offered this coaching? So as I said earlier, it's all about transparency within business. So the organisation who is offering the coaching needs to be really transparent from the out as to what is the purpose of the coaching. Is it to develop the individual, or is there a strategic organizational strategic goal that is part of the conversation as well? And I think if you do have that honesty and transparency, then you're halfway there. But the legal profession is still in its infancy in terms of coaching, and it's got a long way to go. And as you and I know, coaching is a phenomenal tool. But across the spectrum of people-centered work, be it with mental health, be it with career coaching, the profession is light years from where it used to be, and is doing so well in so many areas. And we're finding that young people coming into the profession are so far more aligned with the culture of mental health, talking career development in that space, and they will demand coaching and mentoring in a lot more structured manner over the next 10 to 20 years. So it will be part of the profession. You will be expected to mentor, to coach as an offering. Because if you don't, your people will go somewhere that has that offering elsewhere.
Absolutely, I do see that with the new generation of lawyers. That they do have greater expectations for support and for that mental health awareness, and they're looking for those kind of almost. They shouldn't be benefits, but those extra bits on top of this is your salary, this is what you'll get paid for doing this job. So it's like the extra bits that sort of come with with accepting the job.
One thing I would say as not a warning to people younger people in the profession. A lot of people come into the profession with that level of expectation now, and often over talk it rather than remembering that they're coming into the profession to be a lawyer. And if those benefits are there, they're there as a benefit.
Yeah.
Because the business that you're working in is, forward thinking and is engaged with that way that a business should be working in the 21st century. But I often say to my clients, first and foremost, you're starting in that business as a lawyer to earn money for a business. It's a commercial enterprise. Don't get carried away with talking about things that are benefits, as you quite eloquently described them, rightly or wrongly. First and foremost, you're there to do a job.
Yeah.
And I found that, and the reason I say that is I found that some clients have, almost demanded that, support, mental health conversations, etc., the softer side of business, be part of the conversation from the get-go. And that is borderline naivety, because ultimately, if you're interviewing someone to come and work for the business, first and foremost, you want them to deliver on the job that you're asking them to do. So it's a delicate balance, the conversation at that junior level, especially.
Mm. And I think that comes back to culture as well, though, of the organisation. Some firms seem to be more aware that culture means a lot to new, the new generation that are coming in. They're going to do the research. They're going to have a look at what the website looks like, what the other people are saying about the firm. Oh yeah, absolutely, I agree with the whole interview process. Yeah, it is about, can you do the job? What will you bring to the job? Absolutely.
And it's not just the interview process. It's the first 6 to 12 months of being in a business, especially the legal profession, that is phenomenally competitive and demanding. It's get your feet under the table, do a good job. And if you're invited to be part of that conversation, by all means, but don't try and immediately drive the conversation from the minute you're through the door, because it just doesn't work. Because you're perceived as someone who is not focused on what they're supposed to be focused on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to say that the word alienate came up there. I don't think it's the right word, but you might just end up alienating the people that could actually help you after 12 months. Once they've got to know you and you can do your job and you're good at your job. And then if you do need someone to talk to, they might not be the people to talk to anymore if you've already been, the minute you walk through the door, not doing your job and focused on the benefits, if we're going to call them benefits, the extras.
Yeah, and it's about performing. Ultimately, you're in a profession where performance and delivery and accountability are all paramount, and you have to remember that from the beginning.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Right. Next question then. Sorry. That was interesting. So now we're going to go back to coaching then. And I'm going to ask you, what piece of advice or question would you ask someone listening to this that is considering seeking out coaching?
Oh, seeking out coaching. Got to be the right fit with the coach. Chemistry session, hugely important. There's always going to be good and bad coaches. There are good and bad everything in life. And it's about you feeling comfortable with the coach, you feeling that you can communicate with the coach, and that relationship will work over a period that you're looking for coaching support. So it's the right, it's the right relationship and the right fit. And it's similar to therapy. You need to find the right therapist. If you ever needed, mental health support, it's the right fit. It doesn't mean that one particular coach is right or wrong or good or bad. It just should be the right fit for you, and that's really important.
And I think I'd add an extra bit onto that, the right fit for you at that time as well, because yeah.
Absolutely. And for the coach as well. I mean, you and I have been in this game for a long time now, and if something's not going to work relationship wise from the off, and just being honest with the clients.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then, so from the flip side, then, what would you say or ask somebody considering developing as a coach themselves?
Don't be a Nick. Don't think you're immediately just going to, roll up and be a brilliant coach straight away, which I thought I was, because I'm a good mentor, natural mentor, good communicator, very much a people person. Coaching involves a phenomenal amount of listening, asking the right questions, and understanding the process. I didn't understand the process at all. I utilise what's called the GROW model, which is very goal orientated, and it's got a really nice structure to the way I work. But understanding what you're getting yourself into, it's not, it's so far removed from mentoring. They sit really nicely together, but they're completely poles apart. So yeah, fully understanding um, coaching, what it's about, and being a good listener, and understanding how questions work in the process, not asking leading questions, open questions all the time. It's hard. It's a really, really, really hard job. Phenomenally rewarding, but tough, especially if you like to talk like I do. Um, but yeah, it's challenging, but I really do enjoy it. I really enjoy the challenge of it.
Okay, cool. And I was just thinking there when you were talking that also because you keep saying you're a natural mentor as well. So I imagine the tendency or the um it's to sort of to sort of slide in the mentoring
Oh,
direction. If you
absolutely. And I'm terrible for it, Rachel. And I often say, you know, I will tip into mentoring if I see like a red flag. I will tip into mentoring and say, don't do that. In my opinion, I would do X, Y, and Z. So I have a when I coach different people differently. I coach young lawyers with a mentoring bent simply because I have a lot of experience in the profession. I coach non-lawyers. It's a lot more black and white for me. A lot easier for me to coach non-lawyers. So I coach managers. I'm mentoring and coaching university students. I'm just about to start mentoring and coaching a students up at Liverpool University who's going into the profession, and I do that on a voluntary basis as well, which is great. So I understand how I work, and it's about me communicating and being transparent with clients from the get go, so they understand what they're getting.
Absolutely, like you were saying before about making sure it's the right fit for you
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
for them. Absolutely. Okay. So you talked about you obviously you work as you called it. You have your work and you do your volunteering and you're a local champion and you have two young children. So I'm going to ask, how do you balance life and work to maintain your health, well-being, and resilience?
Experience and understanding myself has probably been the absolute key.
Mm.
I Physical exercise has always been a big thing for me. So I played football for a long time, ran for a long time, still play cricket. Can't play football anymore because I'm old and got an arthritic hip.
Okay.
So I do a lot of swimming now.
Okay.
Um, I understand what my red flags are.
Mm.
So when I get tired, I understand when I need to take a break. Um, Early nights, moderating alcohol, doing nice things, reading, talking to my wife, getting away from work and being with the kids, being with the family, being with friends, socializing. I went out with my pals who I used to play football with last night for the first time in about 4 weeks. Um, just for a couple of drinks. They were playing football. I met them in the pub afterwards. And just having that release that I hadn't had since I stopped playing football, um, and talking about things that weren't, home stress related or work stress related, the usual nonsense banter with blokes. I just felt myself just come down slowly but surely. So understanding myself and having a balanced life is how I and not I used to aim. I think a lot of us do, especially in the legal profession. There's a real strive for what is perceived to be success, success, and seeing success and failure as in both imposters. Someone taught me this. I didn't invent this, by the way. Someone said this to me years ago. See them both as imposters. So you're not striving to have success and then having, thrown yourself bouquets when you do have success, and at the same time when you have things go wrong in your life or in your career, not becoming the end of the world. So it's sitting somewhere in the middle. It's called a slippery, psychologically it's called a slippery pole, and sitting somewhere in the middle of the slippery pole so that you don't get overwhelmed by how you should react to success and how you should react to failure or perceived failure. And again, yeah, seeing them both as imposters was a real lesson for me, and I tune into that quite a lot.
It's interesting what stays with us, the little like tools or like explanations like that. Someone's just and it's some things just stick with us.
Oh,
Um,
massively. A therapist I had when I was in my 20s was an incredible woman, and yeah, she told me about the slippery pole, and yeah, it has really stuck with me. And I catch myself, trying to chase happiness or what you perceive to be happiness or success, and then I, bring myself down from the precipice.
I think that's the key though, isn't it? And when you started, I think you said the first word that came out your mouth to answer that question was experience. And it's
Yeah,
about having that awareness of how we are at any time, whether we might be chasing something that's high up on the slippery pole, or whether it's just that we're tired, our bodies need a recovery period, or they need a boost of resilience or something like that. But it's having the awareness first to know that about ourselves, to then be able to do it something.
yeah. And one of the things young people struggle with in that space. I mean, I'm 54, and it's taken me to get to here to be who I am, and I'm still learning all the time from
Mm.
experience people. And since the dawn of the internet, young people perceive experience and intelligence to be in their phone. So they think I'm experienced or intelligent because I've seen some, and this is not, a blanket accusation by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a cultural thing where being able to pick up your phone and answer the question to a question posed does not make you intelligent or experienced. And experience, intelligence, can be through, working hard, educating yourself. But experience, I'm a great believer, it comes through experience and age. So the amount of experience you have in life. And I often say that to young people, don't confuse the internet and all the information that is at your fingertips with experience, because they're completely different. And it's what is on the internet is not right or wrong. It's someone's opinion.
Yeah. And it also depends on the question you pose when you
Mm.
Google it or when you're looking on the internet.
Oh yeah,
Depends,
yeah, absolutely.
depends on the question, whereas experience generally, I mean, this is what my experience of it, is it helps you in other scenarios as well. So it's not just if that same question, that one question comes up again in like 2 years, those people that searched for it, they might search for it again because they've forgotten because they had no effort to find the
Yeah,
answer. Um, or they might remember it if they've got a good memory and then they can just repeat the same answer. But
yeah,
that is not the same as having experience, because experience can help you in so many different scenarios. And it's, yeah. So I did, yeah. So I was just saying, yes, I agree. Basically,
it's learned behavior, and it's subconscious learned behavior
yeah.
that you build into your subconscious and into your mind and into your memory over a lifetime. Um, and young people do struggle with that, and that is something that, yeah, does concern me. And it's just, and even with my two kids who are only young, they're about 9 and 7. I when they're talking about, YouTube said this or the internet said that, I say to them, look, it's someone's opinion. Exactly that. Neither right nor wrong. It's up to you what you think. So don't take everything that is coming out of your tablet or your phone or whatever medium of communication you're receiving this information from to be the gospel.
Consider who wrote it and what their intention was, or if it was
Oh yeah,
consider who recorded it and what their intention behind the message is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
If you search for the opposite, you probably could find the opposite somewhere.
Of course, of course.
So, yeah, no, you're absolutely right there. So it's not just us trying to make ourselves feel better because we've got so many years of experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay, great. So last question then. So would you do anything differently if you had to do it all again?
Yes, but I wouldn't have learned my life experiences and become the person I am today without those experiences. So the real answer is probably not, because without the more, especially the harder, more challenging experiences in the profession, I wouldn't have learned as much as I've learned. So I will say, part of me says yes, because some of the experiences were quite hard and quite painful, but the reality is no.
Makes us who we are today, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's been great, Nick. Thank you very much for your time. I will ask you before I leave you, how might people get in touch with you if they wanted to? You're on LinkedIn, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, LinkedIn's your best bet. On Oriel Chambers, the Chambers website, my email address is on there, so you can contact me through that. But if you want to drop me a message through LinkedIn, I'm actually looking for some coaching clients at the moment. Free coaching in the legal profession, be it career development or based around mental health, are the two niche areas I work in. But anything else, I'd be happy to be involved with as well. So yeah, LinkedIn, drop me a message, and we can have a chat.
That's great. Thanks for that. I'll find out I'll get your email. I'll put out the email on the LinkedIn post when I post this video as well, just for ease.
Super.
That's great. Right. Thank you very much. Let me stop the recording.